Hello, my name is Carey-Lyn, and I'm going to dive us into the learning modules for October, week 3, lesson 7. Alrighty, so on the front page, of course you've gotten to Musicplay Online already. You have two options, as I talked about last week. Option 1 is to go through the grade that you're looking for and into the learning module. For example, we're going to be going backwards this time. Middle school, learning module, and then there's our lesson 7 right here, October week 3. Or you can go front page over to learning modules and then select middle school on the side and then see them here. Those are your two ways to dive in. My favorite way to do it, mostly because I'm the one updating so I can flip through really quickly, is actually to go up to filter, add a filter, months and weeks, and then I scroll down to October week 3, click on that, and now I just see lesson 7 for pre-K to middle school. So this is the way that I'm going to show you and work from this view, and let's jump into it. Alrighty, now we're going to talk pre-K October week 3, lesson 7. Now, here you will see a pretty long list, 17 activities, right? All of these activities are relatively short and they move very fast. I wouldn't put 17 activities in a different grade because the idea is that you're taking a little bit more time with each activity, but here we're rolling. So let's roll. If you don't like what I'm offering here, definitely go over to copy to my list, make your own version, and build your own lesson. Okay, but let's jump in. Any of these extensions, those are mentioned in the teacher guide, and I've also added those as hyperlinks so you can jump right to those songs on Musicplay Online. So time for music, we're keeping a beat. The next activity is an optional trace and color the beats. The idea is that they are pointing to the beat as they sing the beats of the song, right? So, time for music, clap your hands, clap your hands, clap your hands. Time for music, clap your hands with me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Time for music. And you get the idea. Okay. Scrolling through. The next activity is flashlight vocal warm-up. So can your voice follow the way the flashlight moves on the wall? I don't know. We'll see. Get the jiggles out with a little bit of freeze dance, some spooky Halloween music. Always fun. And then we jump into the sequence. So learning the poem, Little Miss Muffet, and down here, learning the movements for Little Miss Muffet. Very fun. And then there's also the option of saying the poem using different concepts. So fast, slow, high, low, even with magic lips. So that's an idea of magic lips or thinking voice. Now, because I've got this little spider out here, we are going to do spider on the floor. Spider on the floor is very fun because the spider doesn't just stay on the floor. He comes up the leg, and he comes up onto the tummy, then he comes up onto the head. So it is fun if you have something like this, a big, huge spider that's really disgusting. And I would definitely scream if I saw it in the dark. But we also have, so this is the kids demo for Spider on the Floor. You'll notice that spider looks very similar to this spider. Same spider, I know. Good job, spider. You can print and color and draw your own spider so that students can put it on themselves as they're singing. Or if you do have the funds, buying little manipulative spiders could also be an option. Just be aware of pre-K swallowing hazards. Definitely don't get anything too small. Alright, the next one is reviewing Eensy Weensy Spider, following the spider theme. Spider being creepy, being a little Halloween-like. That's where the connection comes to Halloween and fall. There's a kids demo, and then we sing the letter C song, and of course, Cool Cat is never far behind. And then on the video, the next video is the movement song for Cool Cat. So definitely watch the video, learn the movements, and then do the movements with your students. Alrighty, so the next one is Listen to Bony Skeletons. Bony Skeletons has 3 verses. We've got skeletons, black cats, and ghosts. So you would start with just teaching the song by rote, and then as you're listening, creating non-locomotor movement, and then moving to locomotor movement as you're going through, and then they can create that movement as they're singing. Here's the kids demo for the different movement examples, which is great. Alrighty, and now we're moving into our second last activity, which is Mortimer. So Mortimer is a great storybook because it just begs to have sound effects added to it, right? The suggestions for sound effects are in the teaching notes. So again, if you're looking for the teaching notes, it's either in the teacher guide like this, or it's on Musicplay Online under Teacher, Tools, and then Song Activities. And if you need that direct link, use this song used Mortimer. And then this is a sample of Denise reading the book, so you have an idea of what to expect. And then we close our space with Skinnamarink. And that wraps us up for Lesson 7. Alrighty, let's jump into Kindergarten Lesson 7 for October, Week 3. So, starting out, you'll see a really quick numbered list, 1 to 11. Those are the activities that we have in this lesson. So you have a really quick idea of what we're going to start doing. Alrighty, so for the extensions for this lesson, there are 4 extra songs. I don't know if you noticed, but all the other grades are not as thick as kindergarten. And that's because there's just so much good stuff in kindergarten. Over 170 songs and activities are in kindergarten. So, and I definitely can't go through all of them. So I pulled the really fun activities out and gave you the rest of it as extensions. Some of these I will talk about in week 5 because October has 5 weeks. Specifically, stop, look, and listen because that's about traffic safety. And I want to make sure that traffic safety is top of mind while trick-or-treating, even though candy is top of mind while trick-or-treating. But we can hope, right? Anyway. So if you want to go through those extensions, all those are links and they will go directly to the songs. Songs on Musicplay Online are the same songs as here. This is just a collection of the teaching notes. Anything that's here, you'll find in the songs under song activities. Alrighty, enough of that. Let's jump into it. If you see this list and you're thinking half of it will work, half of it won't work, definitely go up here and copy to my list and then create your own lesson based on what I have provided here. You're the only one who knows your classroom, so make sure that you're building it to suit your classroom. Alrighty, scrolling through. We're going to start with singing the echoes to Welcome to School. Get the jiggles out, playing some freeze dance. We have some suggestions here, so definitely go through them and see what will work. And then we jump into Halloween Looby Loo. It is very fun, and this is an opportunity to pull out your parachute. So again, before I jump ahead, this is just a listen and sing. So listen to the song, and when you're ready to sing, sing along. And then this is the game. So you'll see that these students were using a parachute. If you don't have a parachute, just hold hands as you're going around and maybe stir the stew instead of doing the parachute activity. If you do have a parachute though, definitely go for it because kids love parachutes. Alrighty, so yeah, there's a kids demo for you to review. And then we jump into Jelly in the Bowl. So this is our literacy addition to this lesson. Jelly in the bowl, jelly in the bowl. Wibble wobble, jelly in the bowl. So the idea is that you're keeping a steady beat while you're saying it, and you're walking and stomping and patting your stomach, and you can ask, have they ever eaten Jell-O before? What did it feel like? What did it look like? And then do the wibble wobbles, because we all like wibble wobbling. Alrighty, and then there are some movement suggestions in this teacher demo that Denise shows. We have also included some unpitched percussion options as well to kind of liven up the poem. And then we jump into Pumpkin Fat. Pumpkin Fat is a So-Mi song, or miso, or however you want to say it, but it's a high-low. So this is a really good opportunity to actually work on our high-low and starting to label what is high and what is low. So we are just teaching this song by rote, but the next activity is the solfa activity. So as you're going through, don't forget to click this little button because there's a whole bunch of really good activities baked into this solfa activity. So singing the song, and then sing and show how the notes go higher and lower. So if we push play.
Ready, go, pumpkin, pumpkin, round and fat. Turn into a jack-o'-lantern just like that.
Okay. That's very fun. Cute little pencil doing the ups and downs. And then go next, and we can trace the melody and show. So by pushing play, the line will show up.
Ready, go, pumpkin, pumpkin, round and fat.
And then part 2, that's the next part of the song. And of course, we could just continue going through, and then we start labeling. This looks very similar to some of our rhythm sorts that we had in later grades, but this is just high and low. We're not actually doing anything reading-wise here. So there's that. And then play which pattern for the game Pumpkin Fat. So you hear a pattern, and then you decide which one is it. One, two, or three? Well, let's play it on the xylophone and see which one. Is it this one? That didn't sound right. What about this one? Nope. Let's listen to it one more time. Okay, it's number 2. And click on it. Yay, you did it. So every single measure of the song is in this activity, going through it, and using the interactive if you don't have your own little glockenspiel. And of course, there's a game with Pumpkin Fat. It's making the scariest face. So you sing, and somebody is in the middle, and as you're singing the song, you're thinking, okay, what am I going to do for a scary face? Because we're talking about jack-o'-lanterns, right? And then as the music stops, then the students on the outside of the circle turn around, jump in, and make the scariest face they can. We can either have the student pick the scariest face or the teacher picks the scariest face. If you want to move things along a little bit faster, add more students to the middle. All those game directions, of course, available in the song activities, in the teacher guide, or on Musicplay Online under the teacher tools, song activities. Okie dokie, moving on. And then we close our time together with Skinamarink. And that's the end. Alrighty, let's dive into grade 1, October week 3, lesson 7. So, here, you'll see the introduction. All of these procedures, that kind of gives you a really quick idea of what we're going to jump into. Again, if you're seeing this and you like half of it, or you want to add to it, or any of that kind of stuff, definitely copy to my list, and then it's up to you to change it and make it your own. Make sure that it's working for your students. Down here, you'll see extensions. So these 2 are hyperlinks, and those are 2 songs that were mentioned in the song list. So I was going through the month outlines, making sure that I was hitting all of our concepts for the month. And those are the 2 songs that I wasn't able to add. I am still hitting all of our concepts, but if you were looking for more or you have additional lessons, definitely check those extensions out. You can find them in the teacher guide, but you can also find them on Musicplay Online under song activities. Okie dokie. Let's jump into it. Alrighty, we start with singing the echo in Welcome to Music. If some of your students are getting confident, instead of using the video, you could actually have some other students being the leader potentially, and then having the other students echo, but that, of course, that's up to you. Doing vocal warm-ups with some spooky sounds. So that is Lisa, one of our wonderful choral directors. So that is definitely to warm up that little voice. And then get the jiggles out, get ready for music class. So we're going to play freeze dance with the music. This is kind of spooky Halloween music. So definitely take a listen to it. Make sure it's not going to scare anybody. It should be fine. But yeah, so the freeze dance is playing the music and then suddenly pausing it, and the students have to freeze. If anybody moves, they're out. Or they get to play a different game, depending on how your class is doing it. You can also recommend the poses that they have to do, right? Is an alternate to going out, Okay, so we're going to jump into Today's Monday. Today's Monday is included to accompany with unpitched instruments. So you would teach this by rote, and we're talking about consonants and also days of the week, which are two basic skills that are really important. So scrolling on through, creating the accompaniment. So here I did include the slide that was here before, but I added the vocal track and the accompaniment track if you wanted to add that. Again, the next procedure is the interactive that's attached to this. So you pick which one you want. The interactive does not have the music attached to it, whereas the projectable slide does have the music attached. So depending on what you're looking for, definitely pick the one that works for you. We also have some recommendations for how to accompany, but again, it's all up to you and what you have in your classroom. Scrolling through. The next song, I Can Pretend. This is actually not in the grade 1 teacher guide. This is part of some of our other collections, and it's very fun. So I can pretend being a bird, a horse, and a frog, which is very fun. And then they have an opportunity to create their own verse with I Can Pretend. What's your favorite animal? And can you pretend to be that animal? The animal that popped in my head is like dolphin. Just on the ground, be a little dolphin, cute. Anyway, okay, and this is optional depending on how Halloween-y you want your class to be. So dramatizing Witch's Cat. Again, we will be creating an alternative for next year, Kitchen Cat, but for now it's Witch's Cat. And it's a game about the cat is sleeping, and then the mice are playing, they're eating, they're nibbling, they're doing all the things while the cat is sleeping, and the cat stretches and then chases. So that is the game attached to that song. If you want the kids demo for that, definitely hop over to the song used, and then that link right there, the Witch's Cat, and the kids demo will be there. Okay, and now we move into the listening portion of the lesson. So we're going to listen to Personnage with long ears. So that's our selection. Denise does a teaching demo with scarves. So if you have scarves, definitely do that. If you don't have scarves, no worries. Just move with your hands, high and low. This song really shows the concept high and low really well. It hurts a little bit. It hurts the ears a little bit, but you know what? Saint-Saëns knew what he was doing. And then we did get a new listening map made for Personnage with long ears. So definitely take a look at that. It will show very clearly where it goes up and where it comes down. And then we close our time together with The Music Time Is Over. And that wraps us up for grade 1. Alrighty, so grade 2, lesson 7, October, week 3. Let's get into it. So very top, you'll see this introduction. This is a really quick way to see what is in the lesson. So we have 10 procedures, and then we have a whole bunch of extensions because I wasn't able to add all these really fun activities into the lesson. I would highly recommend that you definitely take a look, especially Ikabaka. That is such a fun song, so fun that I might actually add it to next week or the week after, because we have 5 weeks in October. So that might show up anyway, but if you want to jump into it or you need more than what I'm offering, definitely jump into those extensions. those songs are based off the songs that were recommended for this week in the month outline and in the year outline. So if you're looking for more activities, definitely either check out the teacher guide or jump into those songs on Musicplay Online. Okie dokie. Now, as I said, if you're seeing this and you want to add more, you want to take some stuff out, remember you can always copy to my list. Boom, available to you at all times. Now let's get started. Alrighty, so we're going to sing the echoes in our welcome song, which is just great. Open the space. And last week we did Tony Chestnut, so review Tony Chestnut. I didn't add the kids demo with all the actions. If you would prefer that video, definitely click this link and it'll jump you to Tony Chestnut and then you'll see the kids demo. Again, remember this song is a Tony Chestnut knows I love you, right? And it gets faster and faster, so good luck. Very fun and good way to get the body moving. Okay, and we jump right into our first teaching song, which is Birds and Bats. This is our Halloween song. It doesn't mention anything Halloween related, so it is a safe for hopefully your classroom. Alrighty, so this song is about creating sound effects, and it's also 6/8, so they're gonna feel the 6/8. We're not labeling 6/8 right now, it's just we're feeling it. And in previous grades and in previous activities, we feel 6/8 by skipping as opposed to stepping for 4/4 or 2/4. So definitely feel free to move with the music. I've included the video here to add sound effects for each verse, and some suggestions: birds and bats flapping the pages of a book. Yeah, close enough, right? Treats playing the tambourine, which we have over here somewhere. And then the skeletons, little sticks and wood blocks work for bones, so that's pretty fun. And then if you have ORF arrangements, definitely dive into the ORF arrangement. But again, if you don't have ORF arrangement, or again, if you don't have ORF instruments, you can either skip this or just focus on the creative ideas. The creative ideas are usually without ORF instruments or enhance the ORF arrangement. So definitely check those out. Okay, and now we jump into Pass the Witch's Broomstick. If you can't talk about witches, we are going to create a kitchen broomstick alternative, but that won't be released till next year. So you'll have to potentially sing it yourself if you need that alternative. You'll have to probably sing it yourself if you need that alternative option. And if you do need that, click on this link, Pass the Witch's Broomstick. I'm actually just going to do it for us, actually, so that I can show you. Copy link address. 2 seconds. I don't want to leave this page, so. Scroll down here, and you can use the notation for yourself and just sing the accompaniment track. And then that way you can sing and teach the lyrics that you need or that you want your students to know. So that would be your option there. Alrighty, so now we're back to Pass the Witch's Broomstick. And again, kitchen broomstick is the alternative. There is a game with this activity, so definitely play it. I have added the recommendations from the teacher guide. And again, if you're looking for more activities, definitely check out the teacher guide. Anything from here is called Song Activities on Musicplay Online. So, good to know. Okay, and now we're rounding out the lesson with Fossils from Carnival of the Animals. This is a really fun activity because it's kind of like Night at the Museum. So when the security guards are sleeping, all the fossils come to life and they're all these big dinosaurs and everything. And then when the security guard wakes up, all the fossils have to freeze. We're not alive. We're not alive. Too much fun. So that is that. So there's a little demo there, and then dramatize. So here's the kids demo to show you what I just demonstrated, but a little bit more exciting because these kids come up with some really fun poses. So, and then we're going to close our time together with the music time is over. Alrighty, so we are going to talk about grade 3, October, week 3, lesson 7. A lot of 3s in there. So the top introduction is a really quick breakdown of what we're going to do in the lesson. Extensions is anything that I wasn't able to get to in the song list. The song list, remember, is from the month outlines and the year outline. So I wasn't able to get to those 3 activities. All of them are very fun. We did talk about 7 Up last week, so if you want to review it, because we already talked about it, definitely go ahead. Something Hiding is kind of the Halloween, and Larghetto is the listening attached to this week. But we decided to do Closet Key, which is technically from next week, but it's way more fun than any of those other games. So let's just dive in. And again, before I continue, you're the one who knows your classroom the best. So take what I have offered and make adjustments. So definitely copy to my list and delete things you don't need, add things that you're feeling that are missing, and let's start rolling. Alrighty, so first we are going to warm up our ears because Closet Key is a do-re-mi song. So Echo Maya, do-re-mi, and then we're gonna work on Closet Key. So Closet Key is, if they have labeled the solfa notes do re mi, have them read it. If they haven't, then teach it by rote. The rhythm is also very simple. It's ta and tt, quarter note and 2 eighth notes. So if they have the capacity to read rhythms, definitely have them read these rhythms. This song is all about dynamics, and it's probably one of my favorite games is this Closet Key. So basically the idea is you're hiding this closet key and students are walking around, one student is walking around the room, the whole class knows where the key is, and while they're singing, they are changing the dynamics to tell the student, yes, they're getting hot or they're getting colder. Those game directions are actually written there, so if you wanted to read them instead of listen to me talk, definitely go for it. There's kids demo to show, and then I have included the ORF arrangement here. There are some additional creative activities that you don't need ORF instruments for, down here at the very bottom, creative activities. If you have ORF instruments, definitely go ahead and play this. If you don't, check out those creative ideas. Alrighty, scrolling on through, naming the solfa notes. Again, this is just a little solfa challenge. You got 5 lives. Hopefully you don't need 5 lives. Name the notes. Again, if you're teaching solfa and you don't want to teach notes yet, delete that activity. Vice versa, do your edits based on what you need, right? Okay, scrolling through. And of course, because Closet Key was a dynamics activity, we do have a review of dynamics terms and their symbols. And it leads us really nicely into In a Dark, Dark Room poem. So this poem you can read with different dynamics. So students are encouraged to add the dynamic that they want to read that line and try to figure out what's going to be the most effective. Do we start forte and end pianissimo? I don't know, try it out, right? Mix it up a bit. Alrighty, and then we move into the spooky story. So spooky story, this is an interactive story with sound effects. Just listen to the story so that the students have an idea, because the next activity is that they're going to write their own story. Don't worry too much about the monster in the closet. It's a raccoon, so it's not too scary, just scary enough to be Halloween related. So as I mentioned, we do have a worksheet here to create their own story. And down here at the very bottom, you'll see a whole bunch of different numbered sounds. These are the sound effects that are in the interactive activity, so have students just write the numbers where they want those sound effects to be played while they read their story in the next lesson. So that is there, so they have an idea, listen to the sounds, kind of give them an idea of what they want to add. And then down here, by clicking on one of these sounds, you'll actually trigger the sound, and so then as the student is reading the story, the sound is triggered and it's creating kind of like a soundtrack effect. Alrighty, and then the last activity is play, freeze, dance with the music. It is a little bit creepy, so have fun with it. Alrighty, now grade 4, lesson 7, so that's October week 3. We are going to dive into what we have in store. So the first top area that gives you a really quick list of what we've got, extensions. Those are the 2 songs that we weren't able to add. It's really too bad that we weren't able to add Syncopation and Makue because they're excellent pieces, but it is Halloween, so you need to do a little bit of Halloween stuff too. So extensions, any of that kind of extra stuff is in the teacher guide. And of course, teacher guide, all available on Musicplay Online. If you're seeing this list and you say, yeah, I like half of it, don't like the other half, make sure to copy to my list and make your adjustments because you're the one who knows your classroom. Alrighty, we're starting off with Match the Melody. This tone set pattern preps us for a review of Checky Morena. So definitely do that if your students are labeling those pitches. Scrolling through. And now we're going to do a rhythm sort for Checky Morena. Checky Morena, remember, that was from last week, so lesson 6. If you didn't do Checky Morena, this might be a little challenging. This little house will bring you back to the main menu for the beat and rhythm activities, and from there you can kind of decide where your students are. So it is error correcting, so Checky Morena. Checky Morena. Checky Morena. So there you are. It is error correcting. And then you can just click on this to remove and start again. Okay, the next activity is just reviewing Checky Morena. The reason I did not add the notation slide here is because last week we did a lot of work on creating rhythm compositions. If you remember, there were 3 options. Option 1 was improvise, B, C, and D section. Option 2 was create a rhythm composition using paper and pencil. And then option 3 was creating a rhythm composition using the interactive. Whatever you did or whatever you didn't do, all good. Here I have an opportunity to just improvise or work on those compositions again. But again, the opportunity is up to you. So there you are. I also gave some suggestions for different things to use: unpitched instruments, found sounds, body percussion, or boom whackers. And again, all that kind of information can be found in the actual song itself. So definitely click that link right here, Checky Morena. There we are. And now we just name the solfa. And again, if you're naming solfa, keep this activity. If you're naming notes, delete the solfa, keep the notes, vice versa. You know how it works. So that is great. And now we move to bats. Bats is the beginning of our Halloween season. But of course, they just talk about bats, so it's creepy, but not Halloween based. And a very fun activity comes with this song, but listen to the song, sing the E's, and then listen again and try to sing the full verses. And now you get to create sound effects for bats. So if you check the creative suggestions out, you're actually using a balloon. So blowing up the balloon and then letting out just a little bit of air so that, and then at the very end, letting it go and it just goes all over because the bats are flying away, right? Very fun. The suggestions recommend only a couple students doing it, or else you're going to have just general chaos. But you know what your classroom's like, so you build it for your classroom. And I've also included the ORF arrangement if you have ORF instruments right here. Great, great, great. Okay, and bats is a really good opportunity to teach the difference between steps and skips. So here is a short little concept slide that kind of walks us through what's the difference between a step and a skip. So this is a step. So when it goes from a space to a line or a line to a space, how many steps are there in bats? And of course the answer is there. And then the next thing is the skip. 2 lines or 2 spaces, right? And then counting the skips in bats, and there you are. So a little activity, a little bit of theory there, and then naming notes to learn facts about bats. So if we start this activity, you'll see that the students have to read the notes on the treble clef staff in order to unlock the hidden phrase. So that is a B. Let's see, B. The first word is bats. I'll let you figure out what the rest of them are. Okay, and now we talk about the spooky story. So this is just an example, so an interactive story with sound effects that you can listen to, get your students ready for it. Monster in the Closet, turns out it's a raccoon, so it has nothing really to do with Halloween, but it's creepy and scary. So that is what we're working on. And now it's up to the students to create their own spooky story. The fun part about the spooky story, if you haven't done this activity yet, is the very next activity, or you'll see at the very bottom of this, we have all of these sounds. So it's recommended that the students write the story with these sounds in mind and write the numbers so that when they read it, they can, wait for it, use the activity, the interactive activity while they're reading to add a little bit of sound effects to their story. Very fun, very popular, and it kind of makes you feel like you're writing a movie, which we all like a good movie, right? All right, and that is the end of lesson 7. We do review the story in lesson 8, just because it is not quite enough time. So even if they just get started, and we'll come back to it in lesson 8. Alrighty, so now we're going to talk about grade 5, October, week 3, lesson 7. Now, this one is full of great stuff, just like the last one was. Alrighty, so when you first get to this page, you'll see a really quick rundown of what activities there are. At the very bottom, you'll see extensions, whistle, daughter, whistle. So that is an extra song from the teacher guide that I wasn't able to add. If you have more time or additional lessons, definitely jump into Whistle, Daughter, Whistle. It has a good time signature projectable slide, so that would be good for review or teaching, depending on where your students are. Again, if this lesson, half of it is great, half of it you want to jazz up a little bit, definitely copy to my list and make your edits there. But we're going to roll through and see what we've got. So scrolling on through, immediately you'll see the supporting resources. There's quite a few more, and that's because I linked Ghost of Tom to the guitar, ukulele in C, ukulele in D. Just so that there are a little bit more resources if you don't want to just read from a page. There's actually strumming videos and everything. So I have that there as an option. We'll talk about it when we get to Ghost of Tom. Okie dokie. So we're going to warm up with the butterfly clap with Christian, which is great. And then we're going to prime our ears and remember what a syncopated rhythm is. So we're going to play Which Rhythm Do You Hear? And that's the syncopated. Because we're going to play Rhythm Erase. Now, what song do you think this could be from? What did we do last week? Anyway, so the idea is that you clap the rhythm, and like you clap the rhythm of the song. Do the students know where the rhythm comes from? If they guess it right, great on them. If they're having a little bit of trouble, again, this little play button right here will tell you what the song is. It is, of course, Alabama Gal. Don't tell anybody. But Rhythm Erase is also a memory challenge. So as you're going through, students are still clapping that rhythm, but you're erasing it. And erasing until they can clap the whole rhythm just based off of what they remember. And then, of course, we review Alabama Gal. I have the notation slide here, so you can read the rhythms if they're up for it. And scrolling on, there's an ORF arrangement available for Alabama Gal. We did ask the Facebook group this week if people wanted to see the ORF arrangements built into the learning modules, and we heard a resounding yes. So here it is. If you don't have ORF arrangements, copy to my list, delete this procedure. Additionally, I do have some creative ideas that you don't necessarily need ORF arrangements for. So that is invite the students to improvise melodies between the verses. Again, you don't need ORF instruments for that. Melodies can be played on anything, right? So there is that. And again, all that information is down here at the bottom. Okay, now we go into Ghost of Tom. So Ghost of Tom, if you can't talk about ghosts, I would recommend changing ghost to skeleton. I do have that as something that we will be working on this next year, creating these alternate versions of these songs. But for now, it'll be up to you to decide if this is the right song for you and your students. Ghost of Tom, very creepy song also around. So it also has actions. So definitely watch the kids demo to learn the actions. It has a guitar ukulele with Ghost of Tom, of course, and that's what I was mentioning at the very beginning. At the very top of the screen, you'll see those links. It links off to the guitar, ukulele in C tuning, and ukulele in D tuning. So if you want some actual strumming videos or anything like that, definitely check those out. Ghost of Tom was in a minor key, so now we have a major minor game so that students can start hearing between the two of them. And then we enter into the last section of this lesson. So the next couple slides is all about theme and variation form. So in the listening kit, which I don't have with me, but the listening kit for listening kit 5 has a theme and then 2 variations. And it's kind of to talk about what is theme variations, of course. But luckily, they also have play-alongs. So if the form idea is a little bit too boring or not engaging, we can just definitely do some play-alongs. But yeah, so we scroll through here, play-along, this is the theme, and then this is the variation 4. So describe what variation 4 is. Is it fast? Is it slow? What instruments does it use? From those questions, you can create the list of how is the variation different than the theme. And again, I have variation 6 here. Again, same thing. Discuss the piece based on elements of music that composers change when they go from a theme to a variation. And at the very end, there's a worksheet where it kind of summarizes this theme and variation form and prompts students to answer ways that composers can vary the form. And of course, that's like tempo, rhythm, melody, time signature, key signature, major, minor, all that kind of good stuff, right? And then I did keep the variation blank because there are other theme variations on Musicplay Online. So this one I would just write in 4 and 6 if you're doing it with the selections that were added in this learning module. And then they can compare and contrast between the 3 selections. And that wraps us up for lesson 7, grade 5. Alrighty, so this is October week 3, lesson 7 for middle school. We have some pretty fun things in middle school this week. Some brand new assets were added to the website, so that's pretty great. Alrighty, so when we're starting in the lesson, at the very top, you will see a really quick rundown of all the activities. Again, maybe you're going to love all these activities, maybe you want to pick and choose, add some extra stuff, all that kind of good stuff. You always have the ability to copy to my list because you're the one who knows your classroom the best. So pick things that will engage your students. I can give you options, but you're the one who really knows what you're doing with your students. Alrighty, so scrolling down, in this week you'll see a lot of extensions. I've added extensions based on what is in the teacher guide. So in lesson 7, above a plane is technically taught. However, I decided to pull some different activities. But if you're looking for more extensions or more material or anything, definitely go into above a plane. You can find it in the teacher guide. Of course, clicking that link, you'll jump you to the song and all of its assets, which is the same as this. So there's that. All right, let's keep rolling. So supporting resources, you'll notice there's a whole bunch of stuff up here. I've added all the worksheets, anything that is related here. So to start, we have a warm-up with Christian. If you want more activities in this activity, make sure you click that little link, butterfly clap. He just rolls you through, does a little warm-up, and then we play Poison Rhythm. This Poison Rhythm is a triplet 8-beat. So if that's too challenging, come up, you see this 19QSR. That link will bring you to the practice item, and then you can actually pick an easier or harder poison rhythm if you want. This is pretty challenging, so if your students are up for it, excellent. This is to prep us for Fish and Chips. Fish and Chips had that triplet rhythm, but you can jump in and do rhythm reading and all that kind of stuff. Again, that option is open to you. Just click that link, go into that song actually. Just click that link and go into the actual song. But for here, we're actually going to start talking about the textures in music. So Fish and Chips is actually a really good 3-part song. You can sing all 3 short songs all together. And remember the fish and chips and vinegar, and then don't throw your junk in my backyard, and 1 bottle of pop. 1 bottle of pop, that's where your triplet lives. So I've added that here as a review. It's also really easy to play on the ukulele. I'm not sure about the guitar. I'm not a guitar player, but I do play ukulele, and this is the one that we would tour around into schools with, so that was really fun. If you have them, definitely do it. And then we move to textures in music. Again, if you're following the teacher guide, textures in music actually showed up in the Telemann sonata, but I brought it here to link it with Fish and Chips, because Fish and Chips is a little bit easier to understand polyphonic music because it's 3 different melodies at the same time. Just a little bit more graspable, I guess. But definitely go through it. Textures in music, we talk about monophonic, homophonic, and polyphonic. And then down here, we also have a worksheet that aligns directly with the projectable. So if you're into that, definitely do that. Alrighty, now we're prepping for our reading song. So we're going to review the C major scale with this handy dandy little tool. This is the teaching interactive. If your students already know C major scale and they want to practice or assess, definitely click on that staff lesson link and go to activity or lesson 5. Yeah, lesson 5. And then that will be good. I've also included the worksheet that goes along with that interactive in the supplemental resources. So you have that chance if more of a paper crew, Alrighty, so now we're reviewing dollar. So we did talk about dollar in the lesson 6, and now we're just reviewing it. Have them read it if they're there. If they're not there, that's okay. Play the game, because games are always way more fun. So I've included a teaching kids demo here, and the teaching recommendations from the teacher guide. Again, remember, always click that link if you need more information or if you want more activities. All right, scrolling down through. All right, so the next thing is name the notes. Looks like I linked the solfa instead. I will go back and just make sure that that is the notes instead. But yeah, so have them name the notes or name the solfa. Alrighty, the next song is Dry Bones. So this is included to play with some instruments in this lesson. So teach the song by rote and then have the students clap on the quarter rests. You'll know them because it feels like a little gap in the music. The teaching resources also recommend reading through the music with your students and having them identify where all the quarter rests are, picking what instruments they want to play during the quarter rests, or maybe what movements they want to do, or if they still want to stay clapping. Depends on how challenging you want to be. We tried to do it with some body percussion, and that's a challenge and a half. So see where your students are. And yeah, again, this is kind of a Halloween song, but it doesn't mention anything Halloween related, so it's relatively safe. Now, continuing on, we are learning a little bit about Dry Bones because it is a spiritual and it does have a history. So if that's a place where you can talk about that kind of stuff, definitely here's the opportunity. And of course, review Everybody Say Yes. That's John. And this is the teaching not the teaching choreography, the full choreography. The teaching choreography happened last week, maybe the week before as well. So this is really can you get back into it and do the choreography with John? And then we finish everything with a note toss. This is one of the new games, and we're just reviewing the treble clef C scale. Alrighty, so now that is the end of middle school. I hope you have a great time, and I hope you enjoy the October season.